Let's jump right into today's explainer because we are looking at the life of an absolute visionary. We're talking about Sir M. Visvesvaraya. If you've ever wondered how India's modern infrastructure took its very first giant leaps, well, you're in exactly the right place. This is a guy whose name is basically synonymous with genius, relentless drive, and just unwavering integrity.
I mean, think about Bangalore today. You probably know it as this booming global tech hub, right? A massive IT metropolis. But it wasn't always like that. It used to be known as a quiet pensioner's paradise. So who actually laid the groundwork for that massive transformation? It all traces back to one legendary engineer.
And his whole life was driven by one seriously uncompromising motto: industrialize or perish. For him, this wasn't just some catchy slogan. He genuinely believed that if a nation wanted true progress, modern industry and world-class engineering weren't just nice to have, they were absolutely non-negotiable.
Chapter 1. Roots of a Genius. Let's look at where it all started.
Every great mind has an origin story, right? His begins in 1861, born near the scenic Nandi Hills. But he hit a huge roadblock early on. When he was just 15, in 1876, his father passed away. The family was struggling financially, but his mother, she completely took the reins of his education. And her dedication, combined with his sheer brilliance, it paid off big time. By 1885, he graduated at the absolute top of his civil engineering class at the College of Science in Pune.
Which brings us to Chapter 2, Marvels of Engineering, because right out of the gate, he was taking on the impossible.
I want you to imagine trying to solve this puzzle. How do you increase a reservoir's storage capacity without actually building the dam walls any higher? That was the exact crisis he faced in Pune at the Kottakwasla Reservoir. Sounds literally impossible, right? But his solution was so brilliant it won him a patent and global fame.
He invented this elegant automatic floodgate system. It works like this. As water rises to a maximum level, it flows into a well and lifts a float. As that float goes up, a connected deadweight moves down, which triggers a pulley and chain system that actually forces the reservoir gates open to safely let the water out. And then, as the water level goes back down, the well empties, the float drops, and the gates close all by themselves. No electricity needed, no manual labor, just pure, brilliant physics doing the heavy lifting.
And you see this incredible adaptability everywhere he went. Take Aden, Yemen. British troops there had zero water supply. His fix? He tracked down a heavy catchment area 96 kilometers away in the middle of the desert, dug wells, and pumped the water back through pipes. 96 kilometers. Or look at Hyderabad. Flash floods from the Musi River had tragically drowned over 2,000 people. He stepped in, surveyed the area, and built the Hussain Sagar and Himayat Sagar reservoirs, permanently flood-proofing the city. I mean, his ingenuity literally saved thousands of lives.
Moving on to Chapter 3. The Statesman of Mysore.
So by 1911, he's basically achieved mythical status globally, and he returns home to serve as the chief engineer of Mysore. And this is the era that gave us his most famous physical monument, the iconic Krishnaraja Sagar, or KRS Dam, built across the river Kaveri. He spent 20 painstaking years constructing this thing. And just to put this into perspective, when it was built, it was the largest dam in all of Asia.
To really grasp the sheer scale of this project, think about the number 171. This dam was 130 feet high and featured 171 massive iron gates to control the river. And the best part? 48 of those were his exact, patented automatic float and pulley design we just talked about. The before and after of this project is just night and day. Before the dam, you had this arid land where farmers constantly struggled without reliable irrigation. But after, artificial canals allowed them to grow massive amounts of paddy and sugarcane. It literally turned the adjoining district of Mandya into a booming agricultural zone, now known as the Sugar City. Oh, and it also secured a permanent drinking water lifeline for both Mysore and Bangalore.
This project was so transformative for everyday people that Mahatma Gandhi himself said Krishnaraja Sagar alone would immortalize him. That single accomplishment was literally enough to cement his legacy forever. Chapter 4. Industrialize or Perish.
Now, impressed by all this, the Maharaja elevated him to Diwan, basically the Prime Minister, of Mysore in 1912. But you know the old saying, power corrupts, right? Well, not Sir MV. Before he even took office, he invited all his relatives to dinner and laid down the law.
He told them, "I will accept the prestigious office, but on condition that none of you approach me for favors." He demanded zero corruption from day one. Talk about unshakable integrity.
And with that moral compass, he got to work. Remember his industrialize or perish mantra? Well, he lived it. He founded a dizzying list of institutions, and keep in mind, he did all this during the incredibly cash-strapped era of World War I. He started the sandal oil and soap factories, launched the Bank of Mysore, and championed education by founding the University of Mysore, which was actually the first outside British India. He even set up the Mysore Iron and Steel Works. He basically single-handedly kick-started a planned, government-driven economy decades ahead of his time.
People started calling him a karma yogi. If you're not familiar, that's someone who treats their work as a religion, acting entirely out of a sense of duty without caring about personal gain. He pulled off this insane amount of progress in a terrible economic environment simply because he believed it was his absolute duty to uplift the masses through education and industry.
Finally, Chapter 5, A Lasting Legacy. Because for a true karma yogi, the work never really stops. He voluntarily retired as Diwan in 1919, but of course, he couldn't just sit still. The iron and steel works he had started in Bhadravati was struggling. So he rushed over, took over as chairman, and completely saved the plant. But get this, he refused to keep his salary. He took his entire earnings from those 6 years and donated it all to establish an occupational training fund. That fund directly birthed what is now the Sri Jayachamaravangendra Polytechnic. Naturally, a life like that attracts some major hardware. He was knighted by the British Empire in 1915. He went on to form the All India Manufacturers Organization in 1941, constantly telling India to look at the hyper-focused work ethic of Japan as a role model. In 1955, independent India gave him its absolute highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. And for his 100th birthday in 1961, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru personally flew down just to honor him. But despite all the grandeur, he lived a remarkably simple life, right up until he passed away in 1962, at over 100 years old. Which brings up a fascinating question. When the architect of modern India finally died, what do you think he left his family in his will?
The answer is stunning. 0. He left 0 rupees to his family. Instead, he took his entire life savings, about 32,000 rupees, held at the very Bank of Mysore he founded, and donated every last penny of it to his driver, his secretary, and his household staff. He firmly believed his family needed to earn their own way, but that his loyal staff deserved his final gratitude.
Today, India celebrates his birthday, September 15th, as National Engineers Day. And honestly, Sir M. Visvesvaraya's legacy isn't just the towering dams or the bustling factories he left behind. It's the absolute, incorruptible standard of integrity he set for everyone, which leaves us with a pretty powerful question to end this explainer on. When we look at the wildly complex challenges of our own modern world, how can we step up and apply that same selfless, visionary dedication to building our future?